Okay, we've hit record. And Renee, thank you so much for being available today to work with everybody. I really appreciate it. And I am gonna have to exit out to another meeting, and you guys are all in capable hands, so that's awesome. Renee, do you need anything else from me before we go? Before I go?
I think I got it.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. By the way, for you guys that are kind of curious why I have RC10 in front of my name, anyone notice that? Anyone the least bit curious? No, okay.
RC10.
Right in front of my name, it says RC10
Yeah.
Renee Mello.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what it might mean.
Oh, and a little bragging right. It's regional chair for Region 10 at California Association of Realtors.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I'm a director at the California Association of Realtors because I don't have enough to do.
Yeah.
And anyway, that meeting was a couple weeks ago, and that's why it says regional chair. So how's everybody doing? Let me ask you, is there any feedback on this Ignite? Has anyone been reaching out to their clients? Has anybody had any success or anything they want to share about how great this program is?
I got my templates set up in the car website. That was the result of one of the Ignite sessions.
Last Friday. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Again, remember there's the 10-4. You're supposed to be reaching out to 10 people a day, adding 10 people to your database, sending out 10 notes and and looking at 10 properties per week. Anyone doing any of that?
Oh, I looked at properties and I have questions about preemptive offers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll
Later.
get to that today at 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I don't have anything. Come on, guys. This is interactive.
I took advantage of Mother's Day, and I actually reached to a lot more than 10.
Oh, yes.
So many people out there that I have reached to, and I'm hoping that, things are going to roll to the right directions from there.
Well, and I was really excited. I saw that you posted somewhere that you were actually, you were talking somewhere. I do listen to people, and that you had changed the time before you were doing the 9 to 11 and it wasn't working out. So what you found is by calling people at a different time, it worked better for you.
Yes, that's true too. So
okay.
I'm stretching those calls that I do to times that I know. At least I hope that somebody's going to be answering, not just leaving messages.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're going to. Now I'm not going to apologize because anyway, I'm not going to apologize. We're working through this, right? We're working through this. Okay.
Yes.
So again, back to this particular slide that we keep going back to, what successful agents do every day. They grow their business and they run their business, and you don't run your business unless you've grown your business. So, every day you need to be lead generating for buyers you're selling, making presentations, and previewing real estate. And on the other side, market seller listings, negotiate contracts, transaction management, things like that. Okay. So this is what you're supposed to be doing every day. So defining your value. One of the things that happens is a lot of people, I'm going to get you the highest price in the shortest amount of time. How many people do you think say that?
Everybody nowadays.
Exactly. The other thing that everybody says that I really love, I love sellers. I want to get the highest price out there. Well, Mr. Seller, you're the first one that's ever said that. Most of the sellers that I talk to say, I really don't care. Just whatever I get. Of course they're going to want the highest price possible. So the value proposition is defining your value. And when I think about the value proposition, what I think about is that people should leverage their strengths. And I'm going to call out a couple of people. Please don't take this personally, but like Denise. Denise was a counselor. and she was a teacher for a number of years. So her value proposition should include her opportunity or her ability to listen to the needs of clients, and, you know, because she did that with students, and to be able to deliver first-class solutions. Elsie loves to cook, so she knows how to put a bunch of ingredients together and come up with a masterpiece. So, you know, again, when you do your value proposition, the temptation is going to be to say, you know, well, I'm going to get you the highest price at the shortest amount of time. Well, everybody says that. So put together your value proposition that includes something that you are particularly passionate about. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you have to understand that, you know, this is kind of I'm not going to say this is the first time I've seen this. I mean, I've seen it before, but anyway, no apologies. So your value, number one, is you need to craft a simple and precise description of the benefits for the client. You need to convey clearly what you will do to earn the fee you charge. And then you need to, what is this last one? Covenant, make your value proposition a covenant between you and your client. Now, my value proposition basically runs, it's not going to flow out of my mouth perfectly, but my value proposition is having 35 years of experience in the real estate market and in sales, including the real estate market. I have seen everything there could possibly be to see, so I will avoid the typical pitfalls that can happen in a transaction, and I am a heck of a strong negotiator. Boom. Right?
Yes.
So it's simple and precise. It tells people I've been in sales like forever. I've seen everything, so I can stay one step ahead of the problems. And you know, that's going to prevent them from having problems in their transaction. And my covenant with them is I'm going to negotiate the absolutely best deal, and it's going to be the easiest transaction they've ever had. Okay? Any questions? You guys still with me?
Yes.
Okay. Whoops. Okay, 3 aspects of service. What was the last one? Okay, is know the underlying purpose of the real estate professional. Okay. What is the underlying purpose of the real estate professional?
Fiduciary.
Okay. Even more than that, what is their underlying purpose? It's a good, because we did talk about,
The benefit of their client. They need to make sure that they are benefiting their client in every step, you know, along the way.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would say the purpose of a real estate professional is to help the client navigate the many different things that are included in any type of real estate transaction, specifically things that if you are not familiar with the process, you wouldn't know about.
And that's true of both buyers and sellers, right? So basically, the underlying purpose is to help the client get to a successful conclusion of their transaction, whether it's buying or selling,
Yes.
you know, with a minimum of problems. So the value proposition is have and communicate a clear sense of how you deliver on that purpose. So again, the end goal is to get them either the house of their dreams or to sell their house at the highest price. And how are you going to get them there? And then the fiduciary, exhibit a continual drive to put your client's needs above all else. Nothing is worse than what I call commission breath. If a client knows that you're you know, that you're desperate for commission or whatever, they can smell it a mile away. And there's times you're going to have to put your needs ahead of their needs ahead of yours. Because if you don't, you'll lose them. I have a person who was, you know, like one of the things, and this isn't a personal you know, things like representing them if it's out of your area. You know, do you know if there's any sewer lateral type of investigations? Is there any special sort of thing that could, you know, that they may be required to do? And if it's not in the place that you normally do business, you could be putting your client at risk. So, you know, you have to continually put their needs first. And sometimes it's even letting someone go. And sometimes that's the best thing you can do. So what is the underlying, let's see what they say is the underlying purpose of a real estate agent. Okay, there's supposed to be some stuff here. And since whoops. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat. You guys can all read this, but you know, the underlining, it's different for buyers or sellers. For buyers, it's about finding them the right home at the best price in the right time with the least amount of problems. So for sellers, it's about netting them the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. So that's, you know, that's basically what we said. It's significant that one phrase is shared with buyers and sellers with the least amount of problems. And, you know, that's like with sellers nowadays. One of the things I'm asking sellers to do is to get a termite inspection and a property inspection. And people in San Jose operate a little differently than we do in Santa Cruz. But I asked them to do that, which in San Jose, that's standard operating procedure. Because, and I do want to remove the appraisal contingency because I want them, the potential problems come if they don't know what the damages are to the house or what, you know, repairs will need to be done to the house. If they haven't had a termite inspection or if they haven't had a property inspection, and then the client pays for them, and or the buyer does, and it comes up with a bunch of stuff, they're going to be negotiating again. Same thing with the appraisal, because of the prices being so crazy right now. If you have an appraisal contingency, what could happen is the appraisal could come in less. And if the offer is contingent on the appraisal coming in at the purchase price, again, you're going to be negotiating with the seller. And I personally want to negotiate once and only once, which is at the very beginning, so that we know exactly what's happening by the end of the transaction. Excuse me. Any questions? Okay.
No.
Okay, let's see what the value proposition. Your value proposition distills your service offerings into a succinct set of benefits for your client. It states what you do for the client to earn the commission and helps to explain the complexity of what you do. It also holds you accountable to high standards. Now, I will say that one of the things that we have a tendency to do is we don't let the buyer or the seller know all that we do. Well, shoot, you know, they don't deserve their commission. You know, this was easy peasy. Well, it's easy. It's like the duck, you know, that old duck analogy where the duck is kind of going on the water, just going like this, and their little legs are going like this. That's the way it happens quite a bit is we're the duck to the seller, and we're letting them, you know, everything's fine. We're taking care of everything and all that. And our little feet are going like this, or little web feet are going like this underneath, because that's our job, is to make it as easy as possible. The problem is that when we do that, we talk to with a seller, and the seller goes, well, shit, you didn't do anything. What'd you do? You know, well, I can tell you what I did. I went in and I met the inspector at the site, and I was there with him, and you know, as an example, recently, we had in Santa Cruz County, we have to have a sewer lateral inspection. And they have to have I don't know, an outlet where they can put the little camera down, right? Well, this house was in the Adultville in a community that we know exactly where that is on all the houses. They put them all in the same place, right? Well, this house, I had assumed, and you know what assume means, I had assumed that it was going to be in this one place, right? Well, we couldn't find it. And I know that if I hadn't been there with the inspector, that he probably would have quit looking far sooner than he did. And he didn't quit looking. We ended up finding it. But he was on the roof. He was all over. And I know he probably wouldn't have done that if I hadn't been there with him. And we did end up finding it. It was exactly where all the others are. It just had been buried under a bunch of stuff. Now, the seller was there and she saw that. But, you know, what if the seller was gone? She wouldn't have known that I camped out for an hour with the guy from the plumbing company so that he could find the, you know. So those are the kinds of things that happen is we don't toot our own horn enough. And then it makes it look like it's been an easy peasy sort of thing. And that's why people think they could do for sale by owner. So we usually have, and it says here, we usually have a loose understanding of how we provide our clients with value. It's easy to forget that they might understand very little of that value. Your value proposition is what you bring to the experience. Your value proposition statement phrases your skills, expertise, and insights in language that makes them relevant to your clients. Let's say you're fluent in English and Spanish. You may be tempted to say I'm bilingual. Well, that's true, but does it convey the value to your client? Not really.
Not necessarily.
Instead, you could say I have access to a large pool of buyers for your home who are often overlooked by other agents. That's great, right?
Yeah.
Especially depending on where you're selling. Okay. And this is really important. And this gets into the buyer representation agreement, which everybody hates talking about. Everybody hates, you know, well, I don't do it. So I have someone who actually has lost 2 clients because they didn't sit down and do the buyer representation agreement. And he submitted an offer on one house and they didn't get it. And this client ended up going to Monterey, which he could have gone to Monterey and bought a house. And that happened to someone else. So, you know, the buyer representation agreement really protects you from all the work that you may be doing for a buyer so that they, you know, they understand. And I don't even think it's so much the contract. It's the discussion you have when you're going through the contract. You know, Mr. Buyer, understand that when you sign this contract, and we're going to go into the functionary versus fiduciary, but Mr. Buyer, when you sign this contract, understand that I can represent you in Monterey County, San Benito County, Santa Clara County, Santa Cruz County, you know, whatever. Don't be going to Timbuktu, but, you know, these are the areas. If you decide that you want to go to somewhere outside of this area, I will work to get you the best agent out there to represent you. Allow me to, you know, send a referral. So again, you know, those are the discussions you have when you're going through the buyer representation agreement. So the third and final aspect of service is fiduciary. So fiduciary versus functionary. It says, let's go way back to middle school English class. Fiduciary is both an adjective and a noun. As an adjective, it refers to something dealing with trust, especially relationships. You have a fiduciary duty to your client to protect their best interest during what will likely be the largest and most frightening transaction in their life. As a noun, fiduciary refers to the person who has the fiduciary obligation. You are the client's fiduciary. A functionary is one who completes tasks for clients, whereas a fiduciary completes tasks and goes beyond by placing their client's interest ahead of all others, even their own. Being a fiduciary is a big deal. It's an honor. It's also a huge responsibility. It's more important than ever in today's market to wear this badge of honor proudly. Helping your clients understand your fiduciary role is a big part of your value proposition. And this asks, what are some of the ways that you serve as your client's fiduciary during a real estate transaction? Let's have some discussion. How do you act as a fiduciary?
Well, you let them know the value that you're going to put on the table and that you are doing everything in your capability to deliver the best and most honest transaction that you can ever deliver, thinking that you're selling your own property or buying for yourself, putting yourself in the shoes of the client.
Mhm.
Yep, that's one way.
Yeah, you let them know that you owe them the highest level of service.
Right, perfect. Let me just say this, you're working with a buyer and the buyer puts in an offer of 500,000 and the buyer says, I'll go up to 550, I'll go up to 560. Would a functionary is who completes tasks for a client. You're keeping that a secret, even though you know it. Is that a functionary or a fiduciary?
It's a functionary.
Functionary.
If you were to keep it a secret, it's a fiduciary. If you
I was
shared
gonna
it
say, I
with
think
them,
it's a fiduciary
yeah,
because it's your client's information, and it's best kept between you and your client until you have a better understanding of where your offer stands within the greater pool of all the offers that have been extended on that particular property.
exactly. So again, with a seller says, I'll go down to 550. He's at 600. He says he'll go down to 550. So someone calls and says, another agent calls and says, my buyer is going to put in a really low offer. What do you think the seller's reaction would be? If I can't tell them, I'm a fiduciary.
No, you don't tell them. No.
I'm a fiduciary, not a functionary.
Mhm.
And at one point, and I don't mean to confuse this, or I don't want to confuse this, but at one point, buyer's agents were actually sub-agents of the seller agent, because it was the seller agent who pays the buyer's agent. So our loyalty at one point was to the seller, and the buyer never got represented. And that's why they came up with the buyer representation agreement, because again, at one point, we worked for the seller, even though we were representing the buyer. Okay, know and state your value. So this is kind of a whoops, I'm trying to move you guys. This is kind of a
Graph.
blah, 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 blah.
Graph.
You need your morning coffee, Renee.
I need more than that. I'll tell you, it's been a day already.
Oh.
So this is what a buyer wants. The biggest majority of them want help finding the right house to purchase. Okay, well, duh. 14% want help buyer negotiate the terms. 11% want help with the price negotiation. So you notice there's a difference between terms and price. And then 23% are other. So So anyway, so when you're doing your value proposition, these are the things you need to look at, you know, what's important to them. And then next, what buyers value. Number one is the reputation of the agent. Number two, agent is honest and trustworthy. And, you know, again, another one of those that everybody has is I will serve you with integrity and honesty. No, I'm going to lie through my teeth to you. I mean, you know, again, that's something that's rather obvious. You know what I mean? So you need to kind of personalize it a little bit. Agent is a family friend, or, you know, and again, that's why they're saying that if you are referred, if someone refers you to someone, that's great, because they already have built in your reputation and the honesty. I mean, nobody's going to refer you. A friend is not going to refer you if they think that you're, you know, a dishonest sort of person. So that's why referrals are so important, is at that point, you don't have to overcome the idea of building being a reputation, or your reputation, or your, you know, your honesty in that. What sellers want? Oh, you help seller market the home to potential buyers. Well, that's a big duh. Help price the home competitively. You know, they want to know that they're going to be in the ballpark. Help sell home within a specific time frame. Help find buyer for home. Help with negotiation and dealing with, I would probably say that with dealing with what? Buyers, and then other. So when you're building your value proposition, those are the things you need to look at. And what they value is the reputation of the agent. That's huge. That the agent is honest and trustworthy. And then remember, look at this, 14%, you know, say the agent is a friend or a family member. Agent experience, and then other. Any questions about this?
I'm wondering what other is. That's 35%. Or maybe that's not related to agents.
I would say negotiation skills would be there, should be there. You know, some people would probably at one point would have said open houses, you know, a lot of advertising. So this has to do more with the agent. This
Yeah.
other is probably going to be what the agent does.
Okay.
So who are your competitors?
The web.
The what?
The web. The
The
internet.
web?
The internet.
And the other agents,
What kind of agents?
other agents.
Yeah. So real estate has undergone significant changes in the past few years. Investors have come in with the intent to disrupt the industry, and they and they have buyers are driving down commission prices, and some companies are moving toward eliminating the agent altogether. Who are your local competitors? And what I would say, instead of saying, well, everybody, what market are you marketing to? And then based on that market, who are your competitors? I can tell you who my competitors are in my market, because most of the stuff that happens in my market are one-offs. You know, as someone lists a house and it's because they're a relative or they know someone or whatever. There's one person who does a lot of business and they can't possibly be related to that many people. So, you know, I do know who my competition is, and, you know, it's okay. I'll give him a few. But again, it's looking at your market and figuring out who's your competition and then how you can go up against them. Now, again, this is going to sound brutal, but this, you know, again, number one, you know, some people will never hire a woman. Some people will never hire a man. That's the reality. Some people will never hire an older woman. Some people will never hire a younger man. You know, it's just the fact of life. So, you know, some of those things you just have to understand. But the other, over and above that, what you need to do is be able to make a statement about the value that you bring to the transaction. So now it talks about technology. KW, now I want to vote. Allows to search homes, allows agents to create searches on behalf of their clients and all that. So I'm going to assume that you guys are taking care of your technology. The best place to learn about the technology and about command is the 66-day challenge. Let me say that again. The best place to learn about technology is Marty Miller's 66-day challenge. And what you need to do is you just go into YouTube and you put in 66-day challenge, and there he will pop up. And he's actually doing now version 5 of it. The good news is that when we first came out with command, the changes and the updates were like hourly. Okay, because they wanted they really wanted to get stuff out there. And Gary Keller said, in fact, at Family Reunion, that they're stopping it and they're going to just now work to stabilize it. Okay, so now when Marty Miller's going through stuff, it's not like he's going through something and it's going to change the next day, which it did initially. So, you know, again, he's always the best place to get resources. So crafting your value proposition. How about if I give you guys like 10 minutes to kind of just think about it. I don't want you to go anywhere. Just think about it. We don't have to get it. I'm seeing people leave. No, we don't have to get it perfect, but just spend, what time is it? Let's spend until 9:45 just thinking about, you know, think about some of the things you want.
Referral Exchange has a new prospect for you, a buyer in Watson.
Okay, guys, anyone have anything they'd love to share?
I can share, Renee.
I'd love you to share. Thank you.
Sorry, Elsie, did you want to go first?
Oh, go ahead, Linda.
So when I started in real estate, a lot of my clients were friends and who knew me before that. And so I really kind of wanted to show them that I take my career seriously. So I would have like a presentation book I'd bring with me that would show all of my advanced certifications and training, like short
Mhm.
sales negotiations, investments. I also bring my experience as an investor, owner, buyer, and then horse property owner and listing agent. And so I take some of the things that kind of set me apart a little bit from other agents and also just show people who already know me outside of real estate that I do take this very seriously. And then I wrap it up with showing recommendations from past clients who say things like they feel really lucky that they met me, that they were able to have me as a real estate agent. So to kind of show them this is going to be a different experience, because sometimes realtors get a bad reputation out there from some bad experiences or from just what people say in the press and things like that.
Well, some of it's deserved. I'm sorry, I've got a real sick sense of humor. And when you were talking, one of the things I thought of, and please don't take this wrong, but I don't horse around when it comes to real estate. Anyway.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, this mind, sometimes I just don't know what to do with it. I wish I could turn it off. And anyway, okay,
You're pretty funny,
Elsie.
Renee.
Elsie, you had something?
Yeah, I think what I will try to convey to my client is that I am a good listener. I don't say much to make up their mind. I try to make up their mind by my behavior. So I think being a good listener and knowing exactly what their needs are, what concerns they have, what exactly they really wish to result from this transaction, and making sure that I understand what they're trying to convey to me, and that I will take every one of these concerns seriously. And if I don't already know how to react to it or solve it or the answers for it, then I'm gonna do my research, investigate, and treat every concern as a personal one, that I will get their answer, and that I will work to make it sure that it's gonna be taken care of for them.
Sounds good. Good. Julia, you turned your microphone off, which to me means you're ready to share.
Yes, I am ready to share. Let me know if I went the totally wrong direction with this. And it's probably going to sound a little scripted because that's just how I formulate how I'm going to have these types of conversations in my head before I actually add the more human touch. But my idea of how I'm going to speak with my clients and kind of reference my background is that I'm a banker by my former profession. I'm also a first-time home buyer previously, and also a first-time home seller. So I've definitely been in those shoes on the other side in, similar to what they're going through. And I wrote here that I will navigate my clients through their real estate transaction from a client-focused approach that combines my knowledge and expertise with their needs and goals to help achieve their desired end results. Oh,
Awesome.
yay. I wasn't sure if I went like I wasn't sure if I was on the right course.
And you know, it's good, it's great, and just, you know, I love it. And the only thing that your experience in banking is very valuable. So, you know, they're protecting their money as if
Right.
as if
Mhm.
it's your own.
Right. And I have various experience in banking, but my most previous role or my most recent role was in mortgage processing. So
Oh,
I've
that's
worked
good.
with loan underwriting, titles companies, insurance companies, you name it. So I can definitely bring something to the table with that piece of the transaction as well, because I know that alone has so many moving parts to it.
Absolutely. My
Mhm.
experience in the loan industry you know, will help you navigate. Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Mhm.
Good stuff. So
Thank you.
again, you know, this is a work in progress. And my famous saying is progress, not perfection.
Very
But
true.
great job. Great job. Okay, let's see what other little things it has. Create stellar experiences. What qualifies as an excellent real estate experience? Any ahas? Do you understand? I mean, I guess the only thing I would ask is, I mean, do you guys really understand why it's important to have some sort of a value proposition when you're meeting with clients to help differentiate yourself from everybody else?
Yes, to
Yes.
show them that you are genuinely interested in their needs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's really important. They need to know that that realtor truly is interested in the client's needs, not just the realtor's commission needs.
Not their own
Mhm.
needs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
Mhm.
okay,
And
let's see.
like you said, Renee, to show what you're going to do, what exactly are we going to do to justify a commission like that? What are we
Right.
bringing to the table? Because I
Yeah.
think you're completely correct. When most people who are going through this process, they have no idea all the time that will be taken to really help give their transaction the most care and exposure possible. And so it's good to, like you said, toot your own horn and make that known.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, the other thing, I'm going to throw it out there. You guys can think about how you want to integrate it if you want to integrate it. But the other thing too is that your job is as an educator. And see, again, this is perfect for you, Denise. But your job is to educate them so that they can make, or your job is to give them all the information they need so that they can make intelligent decisions.
Yes. Yeah.
And let them know
Mhm.
what's happening ahead of time so that they're not surprised.
Yes.
So those, you know, those are the kinds of things that are really important. So, you know, say you tell them that you're going to give them the information they need. You know, so what does that mean? You're going to contact them on a regular basis. You know, I will call you every Tuesday to give you an update as to exactly what's going on, going on with the transaction. You know, I will, you know, again, so you say it and then you outline exactly what you're going to do that.
I get it all, but I'm finding it a little bit challenging not having any real experience that I feel I can draw on that directly relates to my value proposition.
Okay, Zach, we're barely hearing you. I did hear you though. What did you do before?
Well, the only thing I can think of that would relate to it is being a a father and a family man with experience trying to buy a home in this area and being involved in the community. Um, outside of that, I've just been a soldier and a father. That's about it.
Wait a
That
second. So
would
you were a
apply.
soldier.
Yes.
So you're going to protect people's interests like you protected the country.
Okay.
Again, it's just, you know, it's just a matter of taking what you've done. It doesn't have to be real estate experience. I mean, you know, I mean, I sold computers for a number of years. Yes, I did. I sold computers for a number of years up in San Jose. You know, and my last job, Julia, was actually with Bank of America as a financial relationship manager. Anyway, so, you know, I've had a lot of experience now I've had 20 years, 21 years that I have been consistently in real estate. So, you know, I have that to draw on. But don't let the fact that you haven't been in real estate stop you from looking at a value proposition. What you're doing is you're presenting who you are at the core. And who you are at your core is what's going to differentiate you from everybody else. Okay.
Also, in one of the previous presentations, I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was a military spouse. And she focused on helping military families. And that became her specialty. So Zach, that can be one of the areas that you might want to look into as you're a representative for those people who were in the military. And because you've been there, you've lived it, you would be able to give them information about it, and they would trust you because you're comrades.
Yep, and he's actually kind of doing that or investigating that right now, but yeah. But again, when you're putting together your value proposition, please don't get stuck on the fact that I've only been a realtor for whatever. What you bring is what's valuable. Okay, guys. Well, I hope I did okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of discussion.
You did just fine, Renee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I needed that. I'm you know, the 5 love languages. I'm the affirmation type. You have to tell me how good I am all the time to make me happy.
You're amazing. You did great.
Excellent.
A lot of good information.
You're awesome.
Okay.
Way to take on the challenge the last minute there.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Okay, guys. We will see you. It's time, isn't it? Yeah, it's time.
Yes.
Okay.
See you at
go-
11.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Bye.
Ah.
Bye.
Bye.